Good morning, guys. So I've never been a real fan of external microphones just because it looks like you're filming and everybody hates being filmed. That's just a universal truth. So to stay discreet, I've been just using the A7iii body with no microphone and using the internal audio for like ambient sounds when I'm filming. However, the more I produce with it, the more I'm wanting for better quality audio. Because if there's one thing I've learned through my filmmaking journey, it's that audio is just as important as the image. If you have kind of a fantastic image but really bad quality audio, then you're gonna kind of lose that connection with your audience. It's not going to be as immersive, it's not going to be as natural, and you want to kind of get rid of that effect that something is being filmed. And you just want the experience of watching it to be as natural and immersive as possible. I've owned a few on-camera microphones before. They've all been from Rode, because from my audio engineering days, I loved their microphones, like the NT1A, the NT5s. They were all great quality. They weren't kind of breaking the bank expensive. It meant that I could get into a high quality system without spending thousands on Neumann equipment. So when I started recording audio for videos, it was my natural choice. I started out with the first version of the Rode Videomic Pro, and then I got the second version of the Videomic Pro, not because I wanted an upgrade, just because we wanted a second one, and that was what was available at the time that we wanted to do it. I liked those microphones, but I ended up stopping using them because they were quite big and because I didn't like the suspension mounts. Now, the Videomic Pro had this suspension mount system where it had these little black rubber straps that went across underneath the suspension mount points, and they could quite easily come off. If you like shoved one of those microphones in your bag, like in a hurry when you were packing down from shooting, the next time you got it out, you could pretty much guarantee that one of the little elastic band things had come off, and you'd have to spend a few seconds kind of making sure that was all right before you put it back on again. They were also battery powered, which makes for a better quality preamp, it makes for a cleaner signal, but it's also a single point of failure. It's also another thing to check, and if you forget to switch the preamp on the microphone, then the mini jack defeats the internal microphone, so you just get silence, you get zero audio, and zero audio is worse than just the on-camera audio. So for me, it added a bit of complexity. When I was trying to kind of get my head around filming in general, to kind of think about one more thing was just a bit kind of too much, so I stopped using it and I just started using the inbuilt microphones on the A7iii, because the quality of the A7iii microphone was so much better than the Canon 5D Mark III microphone that I was using before. Now I've started to think I need to integrate it again. I need to start recording higher quality audio on camera as much as I can record and sync audio with like the Instamics and with the TX650s and the Zoom recorders that we have. It's far more convenient and far quicker for post-production to not sync that audio and to just use it straight from camera. And you don't know what's going to happen. And for example, at a wedding, glasses chinking, presents being opened, that kind of thing, as well as people chatting and the general vibe and the atmosphere. Like when I'm just generally filming, like if we're on the beach and the tide's coming in, there's nothing like that kind of sea coming in noise. You can't replicate that. You can kind of fake it in post and you can buy library audio, but it's never quite the same as properly kind of having the real vibe of everything that's going on in the atmosphere. So this week bought the Rode Videomicro to try out. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm pretty obsessed with getting the smallest, lightest, simplest equipment possible, just so I don't have too much to think about, and so I actually want to take it out shooting with me. So let's have a look at it. I've unboxed it and tested it already, just to get a few kind of thoughts for this review, but here it is. Try and show it you there. So it's pretty tiny. If we deconstruct this to the component form, you get a detachable little mini jack cable. It's coiled, which is good, so you don't have a big length of cable going all over the place, but if you do have a camera where you can't easily reach the jack points, it stretches out, so that's perfect. We have windshield, which comes off, seems really good quality. Rode windshields are great, to be honest. I've never had a bad one. And then the actual microphone unit itself is absolutely ridiculous. This is about probably 1/4 of the size of the Videomic Pros. So if you're coming from one of those and you want something smaller, this definitely ticks the boxes. And it comes off the suspension mount, just like that. Now the suspension mount has a locking cold shoe, so you put it on your hot shoe, you twist that, and then it locks onto it and it's not going to fall off. It's got rubberized bits inside there which grips it really firmly, it's not going to fall out, and it's got the typical kind of Rycote suspension plastic cradle, which I find work really well. I don't find myself needing for the full elastic suspension. The actual unit itself is very sturdy feeling, it's all solid aluminium, it's very simple. All it has is the jack point on the back, and it's got a unscrewable mesh filter at the front that I guess you can wash out if you're doing loads of interview work and you're worried about kind of spit on your microphone, which gets a bit gross, so you can just anti-back that and then shove that back on, you're good to go. But otherwise, that is it. Right, I'll just put this back together and I'll show you it on a camera. This is Sony A7iii, 35mm lens, so this is a pretty standard setup for me. So put the suspension mount on, clip the microphone into the suspension mount. Again, really tight fit, and it has this little groove around it where that sits perfectly, and that gives it a good balance point as well. Plug the cable in the back, and then plug the cable into your microphone point, and for a bare bones unit, that is it. With the windshield on, it just pushes on and it's in place, and there we have it. So yeah, going back to my original point, I stopped using external microphones because everyone saw camera with a microphone on it, I'm being filmed, I'm going to be super awkward now, especially at events. I mean, I know there's a precedent to be filmed at events where there's a hired videographer. However, it doesn't really still kind of break that barrier. So I was hesitant to use an external microphone, so you just look like a photographer, so people kind of smile at the camera and then they completely forget you're there and you can just carry on shooting and get the real moments. With the windshield on, I think it's possibly kind of a little obtrusive. Without, it doesn't necessarily look too much like a microphone. It's all black except for the cable, so it doesn't stand out too much. So yeah, as a kind of compact form factor, I don't think that's too intimidating for most situations. I don't think many people are going to bat an eyelid about that, to be honest. Given that the normal Videomic Pros extend to around here, they have a big inbuilt foam windshield, which makes it look pretty big, and they have lights on the back as well. So yeah, it looks a bit more kind of serious and intimidating, so I don't really like the bigger design, despite the presumed higher performance, because it's got inbuilt preamps and a pad and a bass roll-off and stuff like that. But yeah, for the cheapest, smallest microphone in Rode's lineup, I think it's really well built, and I think it's going to suit my needs really, really well. Now, obviously, the most important part of having an external microphone is the performance gain it's going to give you over using the inbuilt microphones. And I've done a little test for you this morning on the inbuilt microphone in the A7 only, and then the Videomicro with no windshield on, and then the Videomicro with the windshield on. This is the inbuilt microphone on the Sony A7iii, no accessories. This is the Rode Videomicro on the A7iii with no windshield, just the bare unit on the suspension mount. This is the Rode Videomicro on the A7iii with the windshield on the suspension mount. So it's pretty clear to see that having the microphone on is a massive advantage. The microphone's on top of the camera and it's about 6 feet away from the source, and that is never a good place for a microphone to be in the first place. You'll notice when I record my videos I have my lavalier microphone here because proximity beats anything else in audio recording. Any other consideration is just mitigated by proximity. So you could have like a £5,000 microphone 20 feet away, or you could have a £200 microphone right here. this one's going to sound better because proximity is everything. However, as a compromise, that 6 feet away, I think it sounds pretty good. There is a bit of kind of background noise. There's a bit of noise from the preamp. I still need to sort my settings out. I need to get a level where I can get a decent level into the microphone for what I'm recording without pushing the preamp too far that we get that digital noise creeping in. I was hoping there wasn't going to be that much difference so I could just carry on using the inbuilt microphones, but it's given me the confidence to use this and know that I'm going to get better quality audio. And this year, that's one of my goals, is to record more ambient audio and to use more in my films. And I think this is really going to help. I honestly think it's probably the £50 that's going to make the biggest difference to your films. So I'd 100% recommend it. I'm still working it out, and I've got quite a few comparisons to do with the other audio recorders that we use. But so far, so good. I'm pretty impressed. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments of the Videomicro versus the inbuilt audio on the camera. Did you think it was going to be a dramatic difference? Are you looking to buy that one accessory that's going to make a huge difference to your filmmaking? I've got a couple of comparison videos coming up with the Videomicro against some of the external audio recorders that we have. I'm interested to see how it fares against some of the higher end equipment that we have and some of the dedicated stereo recorders that we have. So if you'd like this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time, guys. See you later.